plastic container. I can't get it out now, but there's a plastic container inside it, and you can see I have a piece of floral foam, and you see the way I added in the extra wedgie piece. We call them wedgies. So I wedged it in so it didn't shift, and then there's no need to anchor tape it. And that's using the lollipop stick, to see, with a bit of anchor tape on it. And I'm afraid that's a bit long, so I'm just going to cut it a bit shorter, cut it into a point long lid. The square lid obviously goes with this one. And again, I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter, and then I can add that into the arrangement. Just a way of adding, you can see the lid into the box. Okay, I've tried to be a bit organised, so I have a little bit of spruce cut up, a little bit of what we call our silver Sussex. Now you say, God, Janette, did you cut them all the same length? I did. No, I didn't. You know, that way you can see there, they're definitely not the same length. So before you stick them in, just make sure that you clean off the end of the stem. Now the spruce, like, our hands are black. We were here all afternoon cleaning them greenly, and we went back to the hotel. Like, even though we washed our hands, like when I used the white towels, because all the dirt was still on our hands, I needed the towel to scrub it off. Like at home, like sometimes you'd have to get a pot scrubber at your hands. So cleaning off the noblesse or the spruce or the fir, whatever you call it, that's where I bring in the other half for the kids, you know, that way, and bribe them and get them to do them. I'm randomly just sticking in a few little pieces. I'm not following, just to show you, not following any system or any pattern. I'm just randomly sticking in a few little pieces of spruce, a few little bits of, that one is broken, a few little bits of eucalyptus. And again, are they all cut the same length? No, I'll just turn it around to you just to show you how random that is. You know, that way, a little bit more of the silver Sussex, because I've just found another bit on the table. And when I'm cutting the silver Sussex, we did have a bunch of it, I cut down in between it. So I cut it kind of that way. Do you see the way you'd be cutting off all them little bits? You'll be at the doctor tomorrow looking for Prozac. Okay, your nerves will be gone. Cut in between the chunky pieces. It's much, much easier. And again, you get better coverage. And there's its other twin, you know the way. So that was the other roundy box and the other square box. You see that was in the set. And again, I have them lids kind of organised, which you can add them in now, or you could have added them in kind of at the beginning, just to kind of give a little bit of detail. Now I'm not finished with teachers in about 2 weeks' time. You get 4 of these boxes in the set, so you can give one to your mother-in-law, the big one, and you can have 4 then for the teacher, the nun, the Irish teacher, and the one that gives out the lunches. You know, it's a great way of kind of using up the flowers. And I'd often find, like, when you come to do, say, these sorts of arrangements, you say, good, what flowers will I use? Well, what have you got, okay? Now, I have a mixture of stuff here. So this was origanum, that, and it has it over there, and it's all sprayed different colours. I'm going to use it in rose gold as well. But we just say you bought a mixed bunch, okay? And maybe out of the one stem of mixed bunches, you got maybe 3 or 4 heads. You see, like what I've done there. We pretend we didn't buy the rest of it, you know what I mean? You just bought the one stem, okay? And then what you can do is say, well, I might stick that one in there, and I might stick that one in there, and I might stick that one in there. Bought a mixed bunch, you know what I mean? Or you bought a selection of stuff, where I know sometimes when I'm doing classes, and I give things numbers, because when you're teaching somebody, it's a bit like you need 2 ounces of flour, you need 2 ounces of margarine, and you need 2 ounces of sugar to make fairy cakes. Is that the recipe? Or 2 eggs, or whatever it is. But when you get a bit of experience, you're able to change the recipe around, and it still turns out all right. So when we're training you at the beginning, we often do teach numbers and patterns, but then when you kind of get a bit more relaxed with it, and then tonight is more of a relaxed night. Did you all get the mulled wine? No? Jesus, get out there quick and get on the queue. Again, for these sorts of arrangements, do you see the way you can cut off like a couple of the little side shoots? And again, I'm going to cut off 4. You can still stick that back in your vase. And again, randomly, you know that way, stick a little bit of berry into that one, stick a little bit of berry into that one, and this one is going to be this one. You just say that you had a couple of roses, you know what I mean? You could put like a rose in each. But if you, I don't have any roses. But if you do have roses, don't put it in the middle. That's the first thing everybody would do. Do you know that way? Is put it in the middle. Go off centre to the middle. Now don't stick it around the outside. Keep it in the middle area, but not directly in the middle. You know, like a birthday candle or like a, you know, like a candle itself. Kind of go a little bit off centre. But we just pretend in your mixed bunch, you also spot, or you happen to get a few baby carnations. Now baby carnations are great value, last for ages, and because you get all these tight ones as well, you see like the tight ones, as well as like some of the ones that are that little bit more open. The proper name for carnations is dianthus, or people say baby carnations or spray carnations. Spray carnations means exactly the same thing. So green shoots at the side. They will never open. There's somebody in the audience going to tell me they do open. They don't open. You're imagining it. You know that way. You know what I mean? Wake up. They never ever open. They're an image. You've got to better look after the nun. A few little carnation heads. Just to kind of turn that around, just to kind of show you there. You see, just randomly through the arrangement. And while I was bending over there, I found another little Birmingham head, and we're saying that. Right, pine cones, it's Christmas, right? So wire up a pine cone. These are actually the ready wired pine cones. Another one's to put a pine cone into that. And do you remember that little leaf? She brought up the stems. That's how they come. Right, I don't know, there must be about 15, 16 leaves. You see on the stem there, you see there's loads of them at the back. And like pink is obviously pink rose, but pink is the colour this year, you know that way. So again, anybody adding a bit of pink into the arrangement, but where you might thought of adding that one stem. Now it is a bit of work, you know what I mean, to get in and wire them. But again, if you want to do the golds, the silver, or the reds, or the pinks, I think they were €2 a stem. Yeah, €2 a stem. I thought they were great value. Place here behind me. So I'm just adding again a little bit of a gold leaf. You see here and there into the arrangement. Now this berry, and now he sent, Garot sent this garland down to me a few weeks ago. Now I've been at it, okay, there was loads on this one, right? And it was €20 for the stem, and I thought at the time, I said, oh my god, that is just great value. All them bits of berry, because you can see the way I cut them all up, you see, and I wired them. Tonight, for one night only, snooze you lose, 2 of them for €20. So they're great value. So grab a mate and buy it between you, you know that way, because they are great value. So I've only used them in a couple of different arrangements, and again, a little bit of red berry, maybe in that one, maybe a little bit of red berry in that one there, and a little bit of red berry in the other one. And I'm still not finished. But you see the way, so again, just that little bit of berry kind of going through them, and I think that's nearly enough. What do you think, Mary Sweets? There you go, good luck.